Welcome to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Koster with John Kremer. In your diary, you talked about it as not being defined as my doorway into being. If it can stay with not being defined, at some point what makes itself present is a sense of my true nature. I fall into being.
Yes.
But you say, if I can stay with not being defined, but isn't staying with not being defined sort of playing with the mind?
Yeah. So this is all a description of a journey within the mind. Like when you find yourself in the middle of it, in the middle of the dream of the thinking. So to allow for the dream, to allow for the thinking in its totality, at some point you wind up in a place where there's really nothing going on. And that's probably where most people hook off. They say, well, this is boring. I expected enlightenment, but there's nothing that I have allowed for all of my experiences or for the thinking that creates an experience. I allow for that, and I'm in a place where there's not a lot going on. Well, that is exactly the place to be, so to speak. When you understand what is going on, is that then you've taken away or you have broken the spell of the mind being on this constant mission to make you perceivable. And so, in this place where there is not a lot going on, you are actually also referencing to the mind, saying, I'm not having an experience of myself. There's when you say there's not a lot going on, I'm bored. There's nothing in, there is no advantage for me here, or there, like, what is it in for me to be in this place when there's nothing going on? Now, if you can be with that and stay with that for a little while, that is when truly a door opens into another dimension.
So, in a sense, you just have to keep on allowing.
Yeah. And it is not comfortable to be with what some people call be with nothing, but still nothing is actually, again, an understanding. It is referencing to the mind that says, well, there's no content. Well, and that's exactly where it is a door into being, which is to be undefinable and have that experience of being undefinable, because then there is no experience. Experience always arises inside of duality. If you're not being defined, there is nothing to experience, so to speak. But then the nothing to experience at some point turns around and becomes everything, being, the door into being. So the emptiness of nothingness, so to speak, of that there's nothing to experience, becomes the fullness of being. It is the passage into being, the ability to be with not being defined.
Thank you for listening to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Koster. For more information, check out louiskoster.com/talking diaries and subscribe to the Talking Diaries YouTube channel. Also, check out louiskoster.com/quiz and take the free quiz to discover more about yourself.